Do this every night to change your life. Speech inspired by the principles of mental mastery and personal transformation. Each night is a doorway, a passage not merely into rest, but into power. While the world sleeps, while the noise fades, you are handed a sacred opportunity to shape your future. The minutes before your eyes close are not meaningless. They are potent, they are yours, and if you use them wisely, they will change the trajectory of your life. Before you surrender to sleep, make this your ritual. Establish a definite purpose. A mind without purpose is like a ship without a rudder, tossed, turned, and broken by the waves. But when you end your day with a clear mission for your life, you begin to direct forces far beyond your conscious control. The subconscious mind, that silent engineer behind every decision you make, listens closely in the still of the night. Speak it, instruct it, say aloud with conviction, I am becoming what I intend to be. Every day I move closer. Every action brings me nearer. That is not wishful thinking, it is spiritual discipline. Let your final thoughts be pure and intentional, because what you feed your mind before bed, it digests through the night. This is the law of mental autosuggestion. Repeat the beliefs you want embedded in your soul, whisper them, feel them. I am powerful. I am resilient. I am unstoppable. Your subconscious cannot distinguish between truth and repetition. If you repeat it enough, it becomes your identity, and once a belief becomes identity, action follows effortlessly. But here's what blocks most people: resentment. You cannot move forward while you're chained to what hurt you. Bitterness is poison that only destroys the vessel it lives in. Every night release it. Forgive not for them, but for your own future. The person who wronged you is not worth the delay of your destiny. Say it, I release every burden. I let go of every grudge. I am free. That declaration is not weakness, it is power. True power lies in mastering yourself. Then, before sleep takes you, close your eyes and see the life you desire. Picture it in vivid detail. Walk through the home of your dreams. Speak on stages. See your family proud. Count wealth. Feel the health. This isn't fantasy. This is spiritual programming. The subconscious mind does not act on logic. It acts on vision and emotion. The images you feed it become the instructions it follows. And when you visualize with feeling, you are not hoping, you are commanding. As you visualize, breathe in gratitude. Let your heart swell with it. Not because life is perfect, but because you are still in the fight. Gratitude at night shifts your frequency. It tunes your energy to abundance. What you appreciate appreciates. Be thankful for what is, and watch more flow to you. Whisper your thanks even if it's through tears, especially if it's through tears. That's when it matters most. Finally, take inventory. Review your day like a wise builder inspecting the foundation. What did I build today? What did I neglect? What must I do better tomorrow? Do not judge. Just observe. Self-awareness without self-condemnation is how true change begins. With this nightly habit, you're not just sleeping. You're transforming. You are handing your mind a new instruction, a new assignment, a new identity. Do this every night, and you will not recognize your life 6 months from now, because transformation does not begin with action. It begins with awareness, then intention, then repetition. Your night ritual becomes your life reality. There is a silent hour each evening, a hidden moment most people overlook. The time before you sleep. This time is more powerful than most will ever comprehend. It is the moment when the conscious fades and the subconscious begins its work. While the world is shutting down, your inner world is waking up. The question is, what instructions are you giving it, before your body drifts into rest, before your mind unplugs from noise of the day? You must give yourself a direction, a definite nightly purpose. Without it, you risk drifting into sleep like a ship with no compass, no map, and no destination. People wonder why they wake up with anxiety, with dread, with mental fog. It's because they went to bed with confusion, with emotional baggage, with a wandering mind. To change your life, you must change what you do in that sacred moment before sleep. Every evening is a chance to renew your commitment to your vision. Sit quietly, take a deep breath, and speak your purpose aloud. Let your voice remind your spirit what you are here to accomplish. Say, I am becoming stronger. I am building something great. I am walking in the direction of my destiny. These are not weak affirmations. They are spiritual declarations. Purpose is not something you find. It is something you command, and it is through repetition, through intense desire, through mental discipline, that you embed it deep within your subconscious. The mind must be dominated by a clear goal, or it will be dominated by outside distractions. Do not go to bed aimless. Do not allow the last thoughts of your day to be consumed by stress, social media, or things you cannot control. Instead, decide that your night will be sacred, purpose-driven, deliberate. Each night is a spiritual rehearsal for the life you wish to create. When you go to bed with a mission, you awaken with momentum. When you drift off with clarity, you rise with confidence. And when you surrender to rest with intention, your inner faculties begin to conspire in your favor. This is not philosophy. It is law. The mind responds to what it is told, and the most receptive moment of all is just before you sleep. Now, once you have your purpose clear, you must engage in the second and most vital step, mental autosuggestion. This is the process of feeding your subconscious the thoughts you want it to believe, because make no mistake, your subconscious does not act on truth. It acts on what it is repeatedly told, and it makes no distinction between a fact and a feeling if the feeling is fed often enough. Most people unknowingly program their subconscious with fear, worry, limitation, and regret. They review every failure of the day, dwell on their doubts, replay conversations they wish they could take back, and then wonder why tomorrow feels like yesterday. But the wise, the truly committed, reverse this. They feed their mind faith. They feed it hope. They feed it power. So every night after you've declared your purpose, you must begin the ritual of affirmation. Speak life into your own mind. Whisper the words you want to become true. Say, I am capable. I am disciplined. I am focused. I am worthy. I am becoming who I was meant to be. Repeat it again and again with emotion, with conviction, until you feel it. That feeling is the doorway through which the subconscious accepts the instruction. It does not respond to empty phrases. It responds to burning belief. You must become the architect of your own mental structure. Brick by brick, affirmation by affirmation, you lay the foundation of identity. The person who constantly tells themselves they are strong begins to act strong. The one who declares that they are successful starts moving like someone who is successful. And the one who speaks defeat even in jest builds a prison for their own potential. Words are seeds. Plant carefully. Mental autosuggestion is not a one-night practice. It is a lifestyle. It is the spiritual discipline of reprogramming the mind with intention. And every night, as you lie there in the dark, know this: your subconscious mind is wide open. It is absorbing everything you tell it. So be wise in what you feed it. What you say, it believes. What you feel, it multiplies. What you repeat, it turns into habit, action, and eventually destiny. This is why it is not enough to simply speak words. You must emotionally engage with them. Do not recite affirmations like a robot. Say them like a believer. Say them like someone whose life depends on it, because it does. Your life, 6 months from now, will reflect the words you speak every night. Your confidence, your energy, your success, your peace, all will trace back to what you whispered in the quiet hours. And when you feel resistance, when the mind says, this isn't true, say it anyway, say it louder, say it stronger. You are not speaking to your current condition. You are speaking to your future creation. You are speaking through the noise of doubt and into the truth of who you are becoming. Resistance is a sign of transformation. Push through it. Also remember, repetition is the mother of belief. Do not expect immediate results. Do not expect one night of auto-suggestion to erase a lifetime of self-doubt. But do expect progress, do expect change, because no mind can be fed power daily and remain weak. No spirit can absorb faith nightly and remain afraid, and no life can be directed by purpose and remain average. This is how revolutions begin, not on stages, not in crowds, but in silence, in solitude, in the final minutes before rest, when the world is quiet and you are alone with your thoughts. That is when you decide what kind of person you are becoming. That is when the transformation begins. That is when your spirit either grows or shrinks, and you must decide which it will be. You have within you the ability to speak your future into existence, to reshape the contours of your reality through intention and repetition. But you must do it nightly. You must build the habit, protect the moment, and train your mind like a warrior preparing for battle, because life will test you, life will push you. But if your mind is fortified by nightly affirmations and anchored in purpose, you will rise above it all. There is one mental chain more destructive than fear, more limiting than doubt, and more paralyzing than failure. It is resentment, the silent poison that infects the soul and blocks the gates of transformation, and most people go to sleep with it every night without knowing it. They lie in bed with unforgiveness tucked under their pillow. They replay old conversations. They resurrect wounds. They speak silent curses over those who offended them, and while they sleep, the weight of resentment wraps around their spirit like a shackle. If you wish to change your life, you must first free your mind, and to free your mind, you must release every grudge that contaminates your heart. Forgiveness is not an act of weakness. It is the ultimate expression of power. It is the refusal to allow someone else's actions to dictate your energy, your peace, or your future. The person who hurt you may have caused pain, but they cannot keep you in bondage unless you let them live rent free in your soul. Every night, as part of your transformation ritual, practice releasing every burden. Close your eyes and say, I forgive, I release, I rise. Say it even if your emotions do not agree. Say it even if your pride resists. Forgiveness is not a feeling. It is a decision, and when you make that decision repeatedly, your emotions will eventually follow. The soul that forgives becomes lighter. The mind that forgives becomes clearer. The future that is forgiven becomes possible. Understand this. Resentment is a form of self-imprisonment. You are not punishing the person who hurt you. You are punishing yourself by holding on. Letting go is not surrendering your strength. It is reclaiming it. When you forgive, you take your power back. You restore your mental energy. You cut the cord between you and the event that once defined you. Forgiveness is not approval. It is not forgetting. It is choosing to stop bleeding over a wound that has already scarred. And in the quiet hours of night, when you decide to forgive, your spirit aligns with the higher forces of progress, because the universe cannot deliver abundance to a heart filled with bitterness. Success cannot take root in soil that is dry with hate. Your breakthrough requires a clean spirit, a clear conscience, and a mind unburdened by the past. The emotional detox of forgiveness is the foundation upon which elevation is built. Say it tonight. Say it with tears if needed. Say it with trembling lips if you must. I let go. I am done carrying this. I am ready to be free. That moment, repeated every night, will change the trajectory of your life, because freedom is not just a condition. It is a choice made repeatedly in the dark, when no one is watching, when the ego wants revenge but the soul wants peace. And now, with purpose defined, the subconscious programmed, and resentment removed, you are finally ready to perform the most powerful practice of all, visualization of victory. Your imagination is not fantasy. It is the creative engine of reality. What you see clearly in your mind and feel deeply in your heart, you will one day hold in your hand. Visualization is how you tell the universe, this is what I am preparing for. Each night, before you drift into unconsciousness, paint pictures on the canvas of your mind. See yourself as the person you desire to become, not vaguely, vividly. Walk through the life you want. Hear the applause, smell the success. Feel the satisfaction of having conquered what once seemed impossible. Do not be passive in your imagination. Be bold, be specific, be relentless. Close your eyes and enter that future as if it were present. Because to the subconscious, there is no such thing as time. It responds only to imagery and emotion, and when you give it a clear image soaked in intense feeling, it will move heaven and earth to make that picture real. What you see in your mind consistently, your body will eventually chase in reality. What you believe you are, you begin to act like. What you act like consistently, you become. Most people only visualize their fears. They see themselves failing. They imagine things going wrong. They picture rejection, disaster, disappointment, and then they're surprised when those exact things manifest. But the one who visualizes victory, who rehearses success, who feeds their subconscious a blueprint of greatness, begins to live a life few dare to imagine, not because they are lucky, but because they are deliberate. Visualization is the rehearsal of destiny. It is your spiritual preparation for the physical manifestation, and it must be done every night. Why? Because repetition conditions the mind, because consistency builds belief, because when you see it again and again and again, you start to expect it. And what you expect with faith and preparation eventually becomes your reality. You must not merely see the end result. See the journey, see yourself overcoming, visualize the obstacles and imagine yourself conquering them. Visualize the temptations and see yourself walking past them. Visualize the moments of fear and see yourself choosing courage anyway. The more detailed your inner movie, the more powerfully it programs your spirit. You are not just seeing a life. You are rehearsing a character, a role, a future, and feel it. That's the key. Visualization without emotion is a blank script. You must feel the victory, feel the gratitude of already having achieved it. Let that emotion wash over you like it's happening right now. Gratitude is not just for what you have, it is the seed of what you are about to receive. When you feel grateful for a future that hasn't happened yet, you are signaling to your subconscious that it is already yours. And when the subconscious believes it is real, it begins aligning your thoughts, actions, and habits to bring it into form. This is not mysticism. It is mental science. The inner world dictates the outer world. What begins in the imagination ends in the experience. That is the power you hold, but that power must be used nightly. You cannot visualize once and expect mountains to move. You must return to the inner chamber daily. You must refine your vision. You must deepen your emotional connection to it. And you must believe, even when your eyes see the opposite, that what you envision is more real than your current circumstance. You must become obsessed, not with the lack of what you want, but with the image of having it. You must let it fill your thoughts as you fall asleep. Let it be the last thing on your mind and the first thing when you rise, because the image that dominates your subconscious becomes the compass for your conscious decisions. You will begin to walk like the person you saw, speak like them, think like them, and eventually live like them. Every night you are handed the brush and the canvas, and the question is always the same: what will you paint tonight? Will you revisit old wounds or envision new victories? Will you relive past failures or rehearse future triumphs? The mind does not care which picture you feed it. It will accept whichever you offer most often. So choose carefully, choose deliberately, choose victory. There is a truth too often ignored by those seeking success. Your results are not shaped merely by what you do during the day, but by how you align your energy before you sleep. That's why the fifth nightly principle is this: evaluate with brutal honesty, but end with unwavering faith. Many people either live in delusion about their day or in self-condemnation. One weakens them with lies, other with shame, but the individual destined for greatness learns to evaluate himself nightly with truth and growth in mind. Before you lay your head on the pillow, replay the day in your mind like a general reviewing the battlefield, not with emotion, but with clarity. What did you do right? What could have been done better? Where did you waste time? Where did you speak weakly when strength was required? Where did you choose comfort over discipline? Let no detail escape you. Be ruthless with yourself, not to destroy your spirit, but to refine it, because excellence is built through consistent, truthful self-auditing. The habit of progress begins with the habit of accountability. Yet as you inspect the flaws and shortcomings, do not fall into self-hatred. That is the trap that stops most people from growing. Condemnation kills confidence. Instead, after your honest evaluation, choose to affirm, I am not finished. I am improving. I am adjusting. I am evolving. Do not pretend everything went well. Learn from the mistakes and mentally rehearse the correction. See yourself doing it better next time. Plant that new image in your mind. You must never end the day in guilt. Guilt drains energy, faith renews it. Your self-talk at night must always end in belief, always end in vision, because your last mental conversation of the night is what lingers longest in the subconscious, and you must feed it with a sense of growth, a sense of progress, a sense that no matter what the day brought, you are still on the path, still moving forward. The man who improves daily, even by inches, will outrun the one who runs sporadically by miles. This is the law of compound self-mastery, and it begins with nightly evaluation, followed by a spiritual recommitment to the mission. Now, once the mental review is complete, you move into the final and perhaps most sacred part of your nightly transformation, surrendering your desires to the infinite intelligence with expectation, not desperation. This is not mere sleep. It is spiritual submission. It is handing over your goals, your visions, your uncertainties to a power greater than logic, while anchoring your heart in faith that all things are being aligned in your favor. Do not mistake surrender for passivity. It is not giving up. It is giving over. It is acknowledging that you have done your part in thought, in belief, in discipline, and now you trust the higher laws of life to handle it. The rest, most people lie awake at night worrying about what they cannot control. The wise give it up to the source. The strong say, I have planted the seed. I trust the soil. This is the spiritual reset. This is the inner peace that makes warriors out of men. Every night, speak to that infinite force within and around you. Call it God, call it spirit, call it universal law. It does not matter. What matters is that you speak with faith. Declare, I trust that everything I seek is already seeking me. I trust that every delay is for my growth. I trust that what I imagine with belief will come into form. This faith is not wishful thinking. It is the fuel of action, the shield against fear, and the doorway to inner calm. And as you drift into sleep, let your final thoughts be saturated in belief, not fear, gratitude, not lack, expectation, not doubt. Because in that twilight state, between waking and sleep, your spirit is wide open. Your inner world is listening, and if it hears faith, it will work through the night to organize the people, ideas, and situations necessary for your next breakthrough. That is not fantasy. It is the natural result of spiritual alignment. There is a divine intelligence operating beyond your senses, and it responds not to begging, but to belief, not to panic, but to patience. Your task is not to control the entire path, but to walk it with faith, knowing the next stone will appear when you are ready. This is the highest use of the nighttime hours, not to worry, but to whisper certainty, not to replay what went wrong, but to rehearse what's going right, not to escape life, but to align with it. The man who learns to master the night masters his days. The individual who goes to bed with intention, with clarity, with forgiveness, with vision, with honesty, and with faith becomes unstoppable, because his subconscious, that vast inner powerhouse, is no longer misled by confusion or doubt. It is being given clear orders, consistent reinforcement, and a spiritual compass. It is now a servant to a higher mission, not a slave to old patterns. You must train yourself to approach the night not as a leftover part of the day, but as the most fertile soil for transformation, because here, in this quiet darkness, your mind becomes moldable, your emotions settle, your thoughts are stripped of the day's distractions, and this is when the real work begins, not the work others see, but the inner craftsmanship that carves out identity, the invisible labor that creates visible change. Every empire was built in the mind before it appeared in brick. Every triumph was first imagined, believed, reinforced, and surrendered. The blueprint for greatness is written in the dark, when the world sleeps and the committed individual whispers their destiny into their own soul. The one who treats sleep as an escape will never rise with fire, but the one who treats sleep as a strategy will awaken as a different creature altogether. You must see every night as a sacred interval, a time not for passive rest, but for active programming, for resetting your course, for deepening your commitment, for releasing what no longer serves and embedding what is essential. The average person goes to bed with entertainment. The great one goes to bed with intention. The average person seeks comfort. The Great One seeks clarity, the average person numbs the pain, the Great One transforms it. And how do they do it? They master these 6 rituals: purpose before sleep, mental autosuggestion, emotional detox through forgiveness, visualization of victory, honest self-review, and spiritual surrender. These are not merely practices. They are spiritual weapons. With them you dismantle fear, you disarm anxiety, you rewrite identity, you reprogram behavior, you attract opportunity, and most importantly, you become the architect of your own becoming. This is the difference between sleep and slumber, between rest and reset, between dreaming and designing. The individual who practices this nightly will soon realize that mornings no longer begin at sunrise. They begin the night before. Success does not start with alarms. It starts with alignment, and greatness is not an accident. It is a decision repeated when no one is watching, when the lights are off, when the world is quiet, and your soul is loud. Success is not a random stroke of fate. It is a deliberate pattern, created in the silence of each night. When you end every day with purpose, forgiveness, vision, self-honesty, and faith, you awaken each morning with clarity, discipline, and unstoppable momentum. The person who masters their nights rewires their identity, programs their subconscious, and steps boldly into a future of their own design. What you do before sleep isn't a routine, it's a revolution. Change your nights and your life will follow, because transformation doesn't begin in the morning. It begins the moment you decide to end every night with intention.